Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and this is the next video wherein we are going to discuss about Nifty. Yes, we are going to discuss about the levels of the market, that how market is performing and what's there that we can expect in the coming days. So market is actually pretty much interesting and it's behaving in a really amazing way on the positive side. You can see that from the last 2-3 days there are regular gap ups that has been coming up, and basis upon that market is also able to sustain the higher levels. So let's try to look what is going on, what exactly the overall scenario that has been going on. So you can see that the market has really given a good closing, and that to be above the level of 16,600. So closed, the today's expiry closing was definitely on the positive side. So overall net to net, if we will say that the whole day was just the consolidation, and at the end market actually started going up and gave a good closing from the point of opening. And there is one also good point that needs to be noticed over. You can see the FI's data, right? From the last 4 days we have been seeing continuous buying happening from their side, right? So that's definitely a good sign if they have started investing in the Indian market, and that to be on the greener side. The buying is actually again on the heavy side from them. So net to net, the closing from the FI India is basically on the positive side. From the last 4 days we have been seeing continuous buying, so that's a good sign if we are able to move on the upper side once again. But again, we just need to be a little bit cautious, because though the buying is happening, but still there are some levels and some good resistance that are there in the market. If that's not crossed, we cannot say that it's a reversal, because overall net to net trend is still again on the negative side, because we had seen this kind of a level happen in the past when market started to going with some heavy gap ups. But that was not a healthy price action, it was just a gap up. But it was pretty much evident that the selling will definitely come, because market was just in the just a matter of couple of days, like 4 or 5 days, it started to reach to the level of 16,780. That was again a negative sign, because the price action has to be there. But this time if we'll just compare with that kind of a level, it's again on the good note. So let me just open up the chart and let me show you what I mean to say. So you can see that when last time market started to came down to this particular level 15,750, we had seen just a couple of days movement. I mean, it was a very huge gap ups and huge green side movements that was happening, and it reached to the level of 16,750, 780, somewhere around that. And then again a sharp selling came just happened, and all of a sudden just in matter of 2 weeks it started going down and reached to the level of 15,250. So that was a pretty much heavy selling that happened on that particular week. But at the same time, if we'll just compare that kind of a movement, you can see just continuous three green candles were made on the buying side, and then all of a sudden sharp selling came in, and just two big red candles with huge gap downs happened, and basis upon that we saw the level of 15,250. But at the same time, if we'll just compare that particular chart pattern with this kind of a pattern, you can see this time it's moving with some good price action. There is a green candle, then a small halt, and then again a green candle with the small halt. But this time again it's a green candle. So that's definitely a good sign, because this is the movement that we were predicting, and this is the movement that we want if we want to invest in a proper way, if we want to see some good price action, and basis upon that we can analyze the chart, and basis upon that we can take the proper trades. So that's what is going on, and that's a good sign. But at the same time, if we'll just have to go for on the buying side, I mean, if you want to plan for a week's trade, and if you want that to be on the buying side, then I would suggest, or maybe I will just wait a little bit to go long. If it's gonna cross and it's gonna give a closing above this particular level 16,750, 800, because that's gonna be a crucial resistance as of now. Because last time as well we had seen good selling, and this time as well, if we will just if we will just analyze the chart on the day wise, we will see some gap filling, some gaps are there. So maybe it's gonna just consolidate a little bit once again, at least for this week, because it has for this particular week it has given some good green candle. I mean, that's again on a with some good points. You can see that's around 556 points. So maybe it's gonna wait a little bit and consolidate around this particular level. So but I don't think that it's gonna easily cross 16,000 level, at least for this week. We can wait until for this expiry. I mean, maybe we cannot, maybe just for this coming expiry we will see the market sustaining, and respecting the level of 16,000. It's not gonna go below that particular level, because if you will just see over here, it's gonna take some, you can see that 16,250 is also again going to be acting as a good support as of now. And this kind of a gap, so this particular gap which has 16,180 to this particular gap, as of now, is going to act as a crucial support. So maybe it's going to respect that, and I don't think that for this expiry 16,000 is something which is going to be crossed, at least for this particular expiry. So it's going to respect that level, and if we'll have to just take a strangle for this week, then 16,000 is a good level. And from the upper side, I think that it's going to consolidate a little bit, and maybe 17,000 or 16,900 is going to be acting as a good resistance, at least for this week. And maybe if you just want to go for the safe trades, 16,900 and 16,000 is going to be acting as a good point, and we can just go for a safe trade with some good safe strangle, at least for this particular week. So let's try to analyze what's going on the monthly wise, because we are just left with 1 week, and this is going to be the last week wherein the market has to perform. So on the monthly chart, you can see that it has made a really good green candle, and that to be can we say that it's a bullish engulfing? I don't think that we can say that, because the wick for this particular candle is quite outside of this particular candle. But at the same time, we'll just have to say the body has been covered, and if it's gonna give the closing above this particular point, 15,700 or 800, it's gonna cross. If it's gonna cross this particular level, then yes, it's definitely a positive sign. Because if you will just have to say on the monthly chart that it's still on the negative side and still on the selling side, then the closing has to be below the level of 50%. So basically what I mean to say is that if the closing of this particular candle, this candle of July's month, is going to be below the level, I mean just below the level of 250 or 300, then we can say that the selling is still there. But at the same time, it has really moved on the upper side, and it's definitely a good sign. So but still, I mean, the last week is still there. If just gonna come back and just gave the closing below this particular point, then again the selling is something which we can expect in the next coming month as well. But I don't think that's going to happen, because it's a healthy sign. I mean, all the things are going on the favor of for the bull run. FI has started investing, and also the nifties. So let's try to analyze the chart on the day wise, and basis upon that, maybe we can get some good points to note. So you can see that on the day wise chart, these are the gaps, what I mean to say, because this particular gap is something which is there in the market, and maybe it's gonna start going a little bit on the negative side. Maybe it's gonna come back a little bit and then just fill this particular gap and then start going up. Maybe that's gonna happen, and maybe that's how it's gonna take the upper side movement, because this is something which maybe it's gonna start taking the resistance from this point, and it starts gonna come a little bit down, and then gonna take the support from this particular point, and then starts gonna go up. So that is something which is possible, and that would be a healthy price action, I would suggest. So let's see what's the chart that we can expect in the 15-minute, and basis upon that we can capture some good points as well. So from the last 2 days, I can see that just the consolidation is going on around this particular level. It's been opening with the so yesterday itself we saw a good gap up. That was definitely a good gap up of around more than 1%, and basis upon that, it was able to sustain that high level. So the selling was there, but that was just only for like 30-40 points, and basis upon that, it was consolidating around that particular level. And today itself, that today's expiry was definitely a good day for a straddle and maybe for the strangle. I missed just certain things, because I was expecting a little bit of trend maybe on the downside or maybe on the upper side, but it was not able to go on the upper side. When it started going to the level of 16,580, it just started coming down, but at the same time it did not come down even for like more than 40-50 points. So just hovering around like 16,600 and 16,500. Those were the 2 points which were respected pretty much in today's expiry. But at the end, it started going on the upper side and just crossed the level of 16,600. So maybe we can expect a little bit of a buying side happening around tomorrow itself. So maybe it's gonna just cross this particular level, and then starts gonna go up, and then starts maybe a little bit of resistance gonna come into picture, and then it starts going down, and then it starts gonna fill this particular gap. So what we can expect in the tomorrow's market, if there will be a gap up, then I think it's gonna take a resistance a little bit, maybe from the previous level, just 16,700, 650. Those are the good resistance that we had seen in the past. So if it's gonna take the resistance from that point, it starts gonna come down a little bit, then we'll halt a little bit around these levels, because it has consolidated for 2 days for this, and it's gonna act as a good support. So maybe hover around this particular point, and then it starts gonna go a little bit down, then gonna take the support from this point, and then it may start gonna go up from this point if it is a bull run. So maybe this is something we can expect. And even if it's gonna be a flat opening for tomorrow, we just have to wait a little bit until it's gonna come down and just reach to the level of 16,520. And if it's gonna cross that particular level, then we can expect and can go for a good selling side around the level of 16,400. Maybe it's gonna come up till this point, and we can expect this kind of a movement from the market if it's gonna cross this particular level. Let me just draw this particular thing, and that's gonna give a better sign. So what I mean to say is that market is kind of respect this particular box, or you can say this particular range. If it's gonna be around this particular range, then we can expect a little bit of consolidation if it's going to come in between this particular point. And if it's going to cross this particular level from the downside, then with this gap filling will be there. And if it starts going to go on the upper side, I don't think it's going to happen easily. It's going to take a little bit of time to go on the upper side. At least for tomorrow, it's not going to happen. That's what I think. It's going to just hover around this point, going to take a resistance from the upper side, then it's going to come back a little bit. And what I've been thinking, so as you can see that SGX is, let's just take a look on the SGX how it is moving. So 650, because if we'll just take a look on the Nasdaq, it's kind of flat as of now. Right now time is 8:49, so Nasdaq is pretty much flat, and SGX is also flat a little bit on the upper side. So I believe that the market's gonna open around 630.40 around this particular level. So if it's gonna open up around this level, then the selling would be there at initially. That's what I think, and it's gonna come back to this range, and then it's gonna just move from up on the upper side from this point only. Maybe that's what's gonna happen, but I won't go for the aggressive buying as of now, because I think it's gonna come down a little bit, at least for this expiry, for the coming expiry, at least for this month. I don't think there is going to be a huge movement until 16,800. That's what I think. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the analysis that I wanted to share with you. I hope you like the analysis. So the last point which I wanted to mention for today's expiry, so you can see that today was really a good day. Most of the things were on the green side. Metal, energy, auto, reality, IT, all the things are just gave the closing on the greener side. And there is one thing which I just wanted to mention. Maybe I'm just a little bit wrong about this particular point, because I was trying to compare Nasdaq with Nifty. You remember the day when market, like the point which I wanted to mention, that there was a huge gap up that was happening in just a matter of 2-3 weeks, and market reached to the level of 16,700 and then started falling down. And that was a huge selling, and it was a very sharp selling that had happened. So basis upon that, I was just trying to compare the Nasdaq chart. So that's what also happened in Nasdaq. It was just the same picture that was going on. So Nasdaq also started rallying with some gap ups and on to be on the greener side, and that was really very fast. But all of a sudden there was a huge selling that started to came in. And so if we will just have to compare, let me just open up the chart and then we will discuss in a better way. So you can see, okay, so I believe I just have to open up the chart on the days, on the day wise. That's gonna give a better hint. So that was around the very first week of June. So that's what then only it happened. So this is the Nasdaq chart. As you can see, it's it's giving us the same picture. You can see that, okay, so this is basically, yeah, the very first week of the June. So that happened around this particular time. So you can see that the huge gap ups and huge green candles were made in Nasdaq as well, and there was a little bit of consolidation around this level. Then huge selling started to came in. So if we just have to compare, these two charts, and Nifty as well gave us the same picture around these particular range of dates. So if what I believe is that we just have to compare a little bit with the global scenario, that how exactly it is moving and it's how exactly it is behaving. So what I believe is that if the Nasdaq is going to cross this particular level, I mean the level of 12,800 or 12,900, and it starts going to give the closing around these levels, because what I think is that until it's going to be just moving around this particular range, then we cannot go for the aggressive buying as of now. If it starts going to give the closing above these levels, then maybe we can go a little bit long as of now. But up until the market is hovering around this particular price range, then we just have to be a little bit cautious, and we just have to go for the safe trades. That's what I think. And if we'll just try to play a little bit safe as of now, because it's actually at a crucial points. If these are the really good points that we are witnessing and that we are seeing as of now. So what I believe is that going for the safe trade is a good practice, and maybe that's how we will be able to save our just save our capital as well. So I'll go a little bit safe until it's gonna give just confirmation with some good price action and with some buying hints and some selling hints. Then I'll just take the aggressive position. So as of now, I'll just go for the safe trades until it's gonna give the closing above 16,800, and Nasdaq on the positive side 12,800, 12,900. I'll just compare these two charts as of now. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the only point which I wanted to mention. I hope you like the analysis, and thanks for watching the video, guys. Give it a thumbs up if you like it, and see you next time.